This is just Amazon on Tuesday, January 29th, 2019. Uh, we had that rally off of 1617.54 yesterday, and we rolled back down a little bit after hours, and we're right back up here pre-market. This is looking like a double top. Obviously it just needs to roll over from here and come back down. If that does happen, though, I mean, this level is a nice neckline. Or right here, 1622 range here. But kind of think about what happened. We had this move on Friday, a bearish gap and go yesterday, and then possibly continuation lower today. And like I said in yesterday's video, this line is not really in the right place. It's actually down here a little bit more. So this would be kind of a move back into the downtrend channel, which I think right here we're currently above, if I remember how it looked on the daily. I don't want to switch over to the daily because that shows what the candle ended up being today. So let's step into the day and see what happens. So immediately we have a really nice hammer. You get some buying right here, which is kind of the after hours lows in here. Comes back up. But it does look like it's rolling over into somewhat of a double top, including after hours and pre-market, obviously, and then a continuation lower. So it's like, okay, hammer doesn't work. Now we've triggered bearish. The low and the close are 1 penny apart from each other. Continues down, almost down to 1617.50. 4 starts to bounce, a small candle off of the 5. Really nice consolidation pennant here, and then an inverted hammer, all kind of at this same resistance here, which looking back at yesterday kind of coincides with this level. Not that this really meant something big. So I kind of like that it's at this level just today with the way things were, these highs right in here. And this is a great place. It's like, okay, if it's going to roll over, and if this truly is some sort of a double top, I mean, this is a great entry just to bracket this candle or to get a trigger below this candle and stop up here. Because already at our next line, we're at 1-to-1. And if it goes any further, that's more, So we'll come back and look at what price you could get on a put here. Let's continue the day and see what happens. So it does continue down. There we go. This is the same area that we've been buying at previous days. What I don't like about buying today is we've got this looking like a double top. I mean, it's just that pattern zoomed out a little bit. If you are buying here, I mean, you're already in bearish, hopefully. If you're buying here, it's still a great trade if you buy here and it continues higher. So what happens? Throws in a lower wick. Maybe you're still in. Okay. Starts to break out. Comes right back down to our line. And then continues on lower. So this you should have been stopped out that this is not working. And so this, all these candles are still above or touching 1617.54. This candle does not. So if you waited for this candle, you're kind of too late. But if you got in on this candle, you should be up with a nice amount of profit. Comes right into 1607 and then continues on lower. Our next line down here is at 1591.04. And we're not quite going to get there here. It kind of reminded me of this yesterday where we got really close, came back up, got really close, came back up, got down into it. So it's like, okay, 1 try, 2 tries. This is a nice hammer. Both of these are nice hammer candles. It just can't get going bullish back up to here. With this kind of move, I would like to see it come back up to 1607. Doesn't have to, though. Just like, for this kind of thing yesterday, it came back up to here and looking for a rollover and then didn't. It came back up a little higher, but it retested kind of the candle after the big break. So it's like, okay, the big breakdown was this one. Maybe it'll come back up into this candle, just see if that kind of thing happens again. So really nice sideways, for 20 minutes here. And it does end up moving back up, comes right into 1607.19 was the high, and our line is 1607. And then from there, it's kind of free to roll back down. But look at this. You could just trade this bearish right here. Look at this stair step for 25 minutes, 5 candles in here, just going sideways, completely sideways. And then it does break down here. Break down slightly. Nope. I thought it broke down and continued on down. There you go. That's a lot of sideways. Okay, there it goes. So had you been in here, you got to check what your stop is at. If you're up here, maybe you tightened it. With the options, not a lot of premium has been sucked out, so you may still be in, but we can look at what was going off the puts all through this. But we had a squeeze here, didn't fire, squeeze through here, here again, here, and then this one fires before the squeeze actually does. I mean, it triggers it. But that's your continuation down, and we come down into 1591.04. So from here, it's towards the end of the day, and we're just sideways, So now after hours, we've come back up. We're in this range of 1607, 1617.54, and we'll just have to wait and see how things open up. If I come back over to the daily now, we actually did cross this during the day today. I thought it was really interesting that we had this price, crossing the downtrend channel, going right across this price on a candle body like this. And then we've kind of gone through a couple of them here, but it really looks like the 1607 price is, right in here in the middle of this. And what's really interesting about that is during the day today, we came back up to 1607.19. So it's like we retested, this bigger daily channel. We retested that level very nicely on a 5-minute right here. Like I said, this line should be really right here intraday, but because after hours and pre-market, when the markets close, it throws this line off quite a bit on the 5-minute. So that's why I've left it here, but it's just kind of harder to reference on a smaller time frame. Let me see if I can look at this on the hourly. I'm not sure how that's going to play. Yeah, the hourly doesn't even do it. I think what I'd have to do is turn off extended hours, and I forgot where that was because it's been so long since we've done it. Show extended hours. There we go. Okay, equities. Does that work? Okay, so there's, wow. Lines cut right through all that, comes right in here, bounces nicely, and then we're right into it again today. And I'm just doing this for the first time during this video, so I don't really know how well this actually matches up. That's a really nice bounce off of that line. So it looks like we were actually bouncing off of it a little bit during the day today. And we are below it to close below it on the day. We're kind of wicking through it here, got above it, got a nice little bounce on it there. But that may be why it was so choppy right here. What it was doing above the line in here is very similar to what it's been doing above the line on the daily. So it's kind of fractal here. And if you apply this idea, this double top here, to what we're seeing on the daily, then maybe we'll break down, retest for a day or two, and then roll over. If that ends up happening here, like a double top. But the issue is we're right into earnings. So I'm going to come back into the daily here. And so this is the double top I'm talking about in a breakdown. So if we get a bullish candle to retest on Wednesday, then get a little bit of sideways movement Thursday, and then earnings are after hours on Thursday. And so, we'll be able to see by the time we do the video, which direction we're going, if we're going to gap, if we're not going to gap, and really just see how the levels in here are playing out for that. If we come back into the 5-minute, so the puts in here, this was at 9 o'clock, and then this one is at 11:20. So the puts at 9 o'clock, look at this, the The low here is 950. You could have been setting up a trade 10 by 9. That would have included the open price. And then that would have just worked. And you could have exited anywhere in here. When it got into, let's see, what? Yeah, it was way over here. So it was really this price? No, this price. At right at 2 o'clock, actually got here. So, I mean, you could have, what's crazy is it got there very quickly and definitely should be exiting at like 16. And if you see it go through this wick and through another wick, that's okay to move your target down to 16. I mean, let your plan say you can adjust like that when you got 2 places crossing it, because we got back into it here and then we got back into it again here. And I would much rather have gotten out here or here or here than waited all day for it to do more and then just get out here. Because then it's like, oh, I could have had 16. I could have had 16. Do you go for 15? Do you go for 14? You know, like, and then you miss out on some gains. But like this, 10 by 9 up to 16, that's 6R in, an hour or so. That's great. That's exactly the kind of thing we want to do. So let's see. If we look at, what was that next time? Was it noon or 11? No. 11:20. That's what it was. 11:20 in here. 14 by 13. And then it wouldn't have really been looking good here. Comes back down. Probably timed up your stop. Maybe got trailed out or stopped out. Or if you left your stop alone and you got a target at 16, 14 by 13 up to 16, there's 2R, and that would have worked here, just holding, and it would have worked here, just letting it go. And that would have been playing the move from here down to here and getting 2R. That's doable too. So there weren't really any opportunities to buy today. The calls, I'm looking at the 1750 calls this week, and I'm looking at the 1500 puts. If you go closer, like the 1550 puts, they're just much more expensive. So harder to do $100 R with this. And then actually the calls, these just didn't really do anything. They just lost value all day. Even the 1700 calls, let's see. Yeah, just sideways and to down. Did not really get any good moves. And these were, the 1700 calls are a little bit harder to trade too, just because there's some lows in here, but they're not holding the same level, and then they don't really get high enough. I mean, it's possible. 1410 there, 1405. I mean, 1450 maybe here, but why would you be buying there at 1025? I don't know. And then that got 2R, but yeah, why would you be buying at that price? I don't know. So yeah, overall just losing value all day. So the move today was definitely a bearish move. I've been kind of comparing this back to here, and I do like the double top look to it. It just didn't play out. We had a really nice hammer come in here, and it was off to the races again. And so if we can get some sort of buying candle stronger than this one, because we technically had a hammer here, we're losing some volume going into earnings, lost some volume here, losing some more here. This can still be a much larger, kind of triangle with the slope down and kind of a flat bottom, something like that. And that is worth noting too. So the low on this candle was 1595.15, and the low and close today were both below that price. So, for traders who recognize patterns, this is some sort of head and shoulders, and here's your neckline down here, and we have closed below what should be your neckline. And so, that would say, okay, it should retest, and that's the time to get in bearish. So if we get a little bit of buying tomorrow, we come back up into this line. I mean, we don't even have to come that far back up. I mean, we don't even need to get up to 1607. So But that would be a bit of buying and then a rollover. I mean, tomorrow could definitely be a bearish candle. It could be a large one. It could be people, getting out ahead of earnings, where it kind of did some crazy things last earnings. Even this earnings, it didn't really get much. So, this gives people some opportunities to get out, especially after this kind of rally. I'm sure there's people selling or should be selling. So if they do that Wednesday or Thursday ahead of earnings, we should see this pull back. But that's what we're talking about, pull back into kind of the mid-range here. I think I was calling it 1500 when it was here, but the mid-range down this area is probably closer to like 1400. If it takes a day or two, it's probably like this, maybe 1425, somewhere. I'm just trying to eyeball in the midpoint between these. So anyway, that's what we have to look forward to the rest of the week with earnings, and just some maybe unexpected moves. But we'll just continue to look at the 5-minute and see how this thing plays out, and see what levels it'll hold and which moves it'll give us. So stay tuned to the rest of the week with earnings, and I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Justin AMZN. Thanks.